Alright guys, welcome to this video, and in this video we're going to be covering the weekly chart of BTC and the monthly chart of BTC. Yes, I know, of course. The price of the assets, which is BTC, is going down, and everybody is coming up with different narrative, the government, the economy, and the rest of them. But remember, in my previous video, I made it clear where the market was going to go. Not very likely to happen yet, but I think even if that happens, we're going to still go up. We move forward, get rejection around the 20-50 moving average zone. Then we push down to form a lower zone, a lower structure, which is going to form the next bull run for BTC. So we should pay attention to these price areas. I said in my previous video that BTC was supposed to break this zone, but if it failed to break this low, then we are most likely going to rally to the 20 moving average, and if we get rejected near the 20 or at the 20 zone, we will hit a lower point. It's obvious now that this week is going to close lower. If it's going to close lower, how low are we going to go? Now, I picked a reference from this very point in my previous video, this very area, that BTC is going to rally near the 20 and then it will get rejected and go down. So this is not about the economy or the news that are popping up, because the truth about news is this: when it comes to news, the news we hear is something that has already been happening before it goes to the public. That's why people usually say you buy the rumor and sell the news. So if you pay close attention to the chart, you will see the rumor right on the chart, and then when it becomes public, you've already taken your profits from the chart. So the chart has already told us in advance where it is going to, but the question is, how low will BTC actually go? And it is important I make this very clear before I proceed, that this content is for educational purposes and is my own opinion. So whatever I'm saying here, you should not jump in and start making decisions based off it. Do your own research, consult a licensed professional financial personnel before you actually make any investing or committing your real funds into the market, because of course there is risk involved in trading and investing in any asset. Alright, let's proceed. So let's quickly look at the monthly chart, because I'll be coming back to this weekly chart. In this weekly chart, I'll tell us exactly what is going to happen by this very week and potentially in the next week to come. But then the most important question is, how low will this market actually go? Don't be quick to jump into conclusion, because the point where the market is going to be will definitely surprise you. And then how low, but also when exactly are we going to get to the lowest point of BTC? All of this will be covered in this very video. This is the monthly chart for BTC. And as you can see, this is the 20 moving average. We've gotten a rejection near the 20, and now we are breaking below the 20 moving average. Alright, before I proceed to tell us exactly where the market will go, we need some deeper insight as to what is actually happening in the market as we speak. If you go back in time using the MACD, which is the MACD, and BTC price, something usually plays out on the chart. First, we rallied up pretty high and broke the 20, supported on the 50 moving average. Fine. But if you bring out other important facts on the chart, you notice that when we rallied, before we made this move, there was a high. So when the market pulled back, the price of the asset respected the previous high. BTC traded around this very high that you are seeing, which is a week of the previous high before this rally. Let's look at what happened as to the duration when certain things happened. Zooming in, you will see that we had this cross of the MACD here, and after this cross, it took about 153 days for BTC to get to its lowest point, reaching the 50 moving average. Alright, this is what happened as at the time MACD crossed on the monthly chart. Now let's look at the next scenario. In this next scenario, BTC rallied up. This was the previous high. BTC respected the previous high. Of course, it traded still above the previous high around it, and it went very close to the 50 moving average. It didn't actually touch it. Alright, so take note. BTC went very close to it before it made this strong move to the upside. How long did it take after MACD crossed? It took 153 days before BTC went to the lowest point. So it respected the 50 moving average after breaking the 20 and also respected the previous high. This is the third case. In this case, we had a very big move up, but before we had this big move, this was the previous high. So BTC respected this previous high here. BTC did not break it. If you take note, in the first instance I gave us, BTC did not close below or even go up to the close of the candlestick that printed the week of the highest point, which is the all-time high, before we had this rally. So BTC respected it, which is near the 50 moving average. Even if you broke it, it doesn't really matter. The point is, it respected this high and it was around the 50 moving average. How long did it take before getting to the lowest point? It took about 151 days. From this point of the cross to this point. The market also made a lower point, which is this point, below this point. This is point of interest, as I'm marking it out. So even if we went lower than this point, the low wasn't that much. It was just little percentage below this very point. So which is quite not a big deal. Now, this is where we are today. This is the first point of interest, guys. This yellow box, which is around the 73k zone down to 72 or 71k zone. So BTC is meant to hold within these points. It could actually go to these zones in the next couple of weeks. All right. But again, this very box reminds us of what happened in the past. This blue box is the support of the previous all-time high, which is 61k zone up to the 69k zone. So from the 61k zone to the 69k zone. This red line is before we got to the close of the candle that printed the highest high, which is more like around $63,000. That is where I think BTC would be in the worst case scenario, However, there's a chance for us to still break this box. Remember, it all depends on the 50 moving average. So if the price goes below the 50 moving average, it wouldn't be too far from the box because this 50 moving average is actually rising gradually before we touch it. And how long or when exactly will this be? Using the same here, remember we had it happen within 151 days. The other two previous one I showed us was 53 days. So bringing that to today's instance, I drew this point where we crossed the MACD for the monthly chart of BTC crossed to this very point. It took about 151 days again, which is going to be Wednesday on the 1st April 2026. So approximately the last week of March, which is before April, and the first week of April is where BTC is going to be at the lowest point. And what does this mean? It means that whatever you are doing, this is the time to accumulate any crypto asset of choice. If BTC gets to its bottom, definitely every other coin would be at your critical bottom. So you would actually scoop in a lot of buys. But remember, whatever you are doing, you need to make sure you implement DCA type of trading strategy. So you don't just push in all the funds at once. You have to push it in gradually just to make sure you accumulate as much as you can, even though it goes lower than the expected price zone. All right. I believe this is very clear. So the duration is there and also the exact price is also known. Here, we are now in the weekly chart for BTC. So on this weekly chart, we need to quickly analyze where the price of BTC will be by this very week. Because as you can see, this candle is closing within the next 8 hours plus or thereabouts. So roughly 9 hours from now, this candlestick will be closing depending on when you are watching this video. If you look at this chart, you see that we already at the critical bottom, which is where this market rallied before it made this move. Now we need to bring in something else. This is the RSI for the weekly charts. You can see that in this RSI, as you can see here, RSI is sort of supporting at a very important area on the chart. As you can see here, this is where RSI is bouncing off from. RSI is touching here, touching here, touching here, touching here, which is this price points 1, 2, and 3. And each of all of these price points, the market did rallied up. Market rallied up a little bit here. Market rallied up all the way from here. And if you have been following my videos, you see that I don't play with engulfing candlestick. These candlesticks were not engulfing enough to take out this previous a red candlestick, but this one was engulfed enough to take out the previous red, and then the market rallied up. So you should pay attention to how this market, how the red candle is formed. If it's weak like this, there's a chance for a rally up, but it could also go down. This very weak, it's obvious we've touched this very critical support zone. So what we should expect from this week is a quick rally to the upside. We are going to go down a little bit, most likely. I'm not sure. So if we do go down, I am very sure that the week will close green. If this week doesn't close green, definitely the next week will close green. So within this zone is the area you should pay very close attention to. Buying into this zone, and then when we close green, you could see what happens next if you're going to take your profit or hold. So we should expect some rally because this very zone have been a critical support area for BTC. But whatever happens, I am very sure that the market will respect zone 1 and zone 2. Above all, we should always pay attention to this blue box because this is where the refunds will come from. This is where many whales will be keying back into the market to accumulate positions. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.